So they trying to take Harlem. It's really like that. Columbia University is trying to take up all the land of Harlem, not just to build its university and its influence, but to displace residents of Harlem who specifically are Black and Latino. There's so much history when it comes to real estate, when it comes to these universities, when it comes to Harlem, when it comes to Black people, racist capitalism. It's all in the heart of New York. You know, that was the Mecca, that was the center for Black people. But it soon became a commodity, it became an investment point. People started gentrifying, invading Harlem. It's been the equivalent of a crusade in Harlem, the way that they took it over, pillaged it, sold it off, perverted it, all of that. You know, and now what they doing? They buying it up, sanitizing it, making it richer and better, and discriminating on people who can't afford it. And you know what? It is better. Like, yo, you go and see these new campuses on 125th, on the piers by the water, they got rock climbing in there, bro. Son, you got rock climbing for these kids. These kids who was born into privilege and wealth. And of course, there's people in there who are smart and like deserving of a good education. But is everybody not deserving of a good education? You know, these are different topics, but it enrages you to see going out there, 125th, like right next to the projects, right under the bridge. Like, yo, it's so real, bro. It's like, yo, these things are brand new and they're beautiful. It's like disturbing, that type of gentrification, you know? It's not Bushwick where, oh, you got a little coffee shop. That's how you know it's coming. Bro, we in the middle of it here. This is what it looks like. It's right smack in the middle, across from the Cotton Club, bro. It don't get more realer than that. Son, like, it's really crazy. And they have so much power and influence. It's like, there's not much that you can do outside of, you know, spread awareness. Come to the rally on Monday. If you're really trying to make a big difference in terms of people knowing you and seeing what you're about, is you really about some type of change, you know, so pull up. Anyway, there's not much we could do outside of that and getting in contact with people who are powerful. Because what we going out, buy them? Buy the hood back. You can't buy a hood in Harlem. It's impossible. And that's all by design. They've had this in plan for decades. And at this point, all you could do is be angry. You know, sometimes you gotta let the party die by any means necessary. It's right in Harlem, bro. That's the spirit of it. We know that. This is something they've been doing for over 60 years, since 1945. And they started excluding on a racist basis, basically building and expanding in Harlem while deliberately excluding Black and Latino residents. Several schools, churches, you know, Columbia, Barnard, Juilliard, Manhattan School of Music, Corpus Christi Church, Riverside Church, you know these places. These are big places. They all was in an incorporated group, a conspiracy, literally, to discriminate and exclude Black and Latino people in the mid-century. But right along the same time as Harlem being the cultural center for Black people, the Harlem Renaissance had only been about 20 years out, right? Maybe even less than that. Harlem was becoming too powerful, or how the whites of Columbia who conspired on these things, on this incorporated, would describe it as dangerous. Harlem needed some help. And instead, historically, what these schools and these companies do is they take over when it's only convenient for them and inconvenient for the indigenous people or for the people native to that area. For example, in Harlem, there was to be investments on the West Side Pier on 125th. Columbia was not trying to invest. They was not trying to see the health and connectivity of Harlem and Uptown done through a Black lens, right? It's called Harlem on Hudson. There's a whole plan they had. Shut it down. Columbia was saying, nah, we don't want nothing to do with that area. We're not gonna touch it. Don't worry. We're not gonna buy it. Take a wild guess at what Columbia University did. A year after saying that they was not interested in purchasing and dominating that property, they purchased and dominated that property. So this is something that has been long in play. And it's like, yo, if you're wondering why your rent is up, why it's unaffordable for you or family or friends to live in New York, it's because it is exclusionary on that basis now in terms of a class sense as well. If you're not making a certain amount of money, you're not valid. If you're not making a certain amount of money, you can't pay for the school. You don't know certain people, you don't have a certain background, you can't even really think of applying to the school. You're not getting in. So it's really that real. It's important to realize that you're not alone in being discriminated. There are others like you, because this is intended to build up ideologies and influence through the school and to amass power and wealth through real estate. This is like capitalism in general is just doing that to the people of the United States, the underclass. So realize that because it's happening in New York from Columbia, which just happens to be a university, and a university now seems to operate much like a corporation, and realize that there are players who are complicit in this evil game who discriminate on basis that you may not even be able to control, therefore making you a big enemy of the system, native New Yorkers included. Like, I mean, 99% of people who see this, you are the person who's gonna be affected by this. It's not just ethnic minorities, discriminated people, oppressed people. Yo, if you not up there in terms of the wealth, like up there, bro, it's not no 100K, 300K a year. Like, bro, you don't realize how much money some people have. Like, there is a lot of capital at stake. So anyway, you are just more than likely the 99%. So it's like, this is going to affect you one way or the other eventually. Only now is Colombia beginning to reckon with some of the things that it's done, but there's a long way to go before there's any serious change or resistance to this force. Knowledge, getting involved with some of your communities, your council people, and your local politicians. Check out Defend Harlem on Instagram. You could learn a lot more from them than you can from me on this. I just attended one of the events and I learned a lot. Pull up to the rally on Monday, 125th, 6 p.m. at Columbia's campus, because we're gonna make a change.